Hey guys, this is our first podcast ever, and so it's really raw, and we wanted to come in and bring you guys value. So we're about to get into a lot of controversial topics. My name is CaseyCabezaChat and my friend Nick Casey, and we're going to bring you guys value. So if you guys enjoy, definitely drop a like and subscribe. And I just want to warn you guys that it will get very dark towards the end, and we tried to raise our brightness, but it still looks really grainy and bad quality. So that's just a disclaimer before you guys go into it. So I want you guys to just go in knowing that, and so you guys just know when it gets dark, like not asking why did it get dark, But we still want to release this to you guys because we believe that this will provide you guys a lot of value. So without further ado, enjoy.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Casey. This is Elian Cabeza, and we're doing a podcast in nature. We're just two teenage guys that are on our self-improvement journey, and we have some valuable things that we think you might find interesting.
Yeah, and this is just a last-minute thing we thought about. We thought about, you know what, how can we make a difference in the world? Because I feel like a lot of people nowadays, they don't make a difference in the world. They don't even think about it. Like kids our age are probably playing video games or out partying, doing whatever. And we've always kind of just been like the odd one out and been more isolated with ourselves on just how to, make a bigger difference. So that's why we're here today.
That's why we're here. We don't celebrate mediocrity.
Mediocrity. Yeah. I mean, a lot of habits that we have that are normal to us, that are healthy habits, are outrageous to like other kids. So, I mean, like, we're different is what we're trying to say here.
What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is feeling proud of yourself for how you impacted other people and how hard you work from the outcomes of things that you find valuable. So if you work really hard on something and you are proud of that and you are satisfied with your results, I think that is how you should define success, because we know that success is subjective, right? So if I think getting a 300 bench is successful for me, for someone who's benching 500, that's nothing. That's baby weight.
Right.
So it's just, I guess, pushing yourself to your limits, to new heights, for growth that you never thought you could hit before. The
pillar changes. You're always just going to strive for the next great thing after you've achieved that goal.
Right.
You remember when you were trying to hit 135 on bench?
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, I have to hit this, I have to hit this. Now you can rep it for, what, 30? 30,
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like always wanting more kind of thing. No matter what benchmark you get to, you're always going to strive for higher, or you're never going to think it's good enough. But I think that can be a good thing, but also a bad thing. I think it can be a good thing because it can push you to go past your limits, to achieve for masculine achievement to the highest degree as possible. But it can be negative because it can always feel like there's something missing. There's always something that you're just not complete. But I can see both sides of it, but it's just about how you react to that feeling, I guess, and finding other ways to feel complete.
Who do you think is more successful? A billionaire with a ton of stress, no free time, no family time, or let's say minimum wage job worker. Although they're stuck to their job, they don't really have a lot of stress, right?
Yeah.
They still have time to be with friends. And who do you think is more successful in that scenario?
I think it comes back to how you define success. If you define success as however much money you have and just how many businesses you own, I guess you can account to the billionaire. But in terms of if you value success as socializing with others and being there for your family and ultimately having free time, I guess that's how you can define a success. But I would still say the billionaire, even though he doesn't have any time, he's put it to something big, because now he doesn't have to fight for a meal. He doesn't have to fight for anything he wants. So now he has, to a certain point, he'll be able to have more time because he's already made it. Since he's already made it, money is being made and he doesn't have to do a thing every second. So I believe that to a certain point, he's going to have time regardless. So if you're asking me what position I'd rather be in now, I'm taking the billionaire any day.
Imagine you had crippling stress to go with that, though. $1 billion, but you're never happy.
But why does stress have to be a bad thing?
Stress is not always a bad thing.
Exactly. So, like, stress doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can look at it to feel you, because every energy that you feel, every feeling you feel, it's not about not feeling the feeling. It's about how you react and how you bounce back from it. So, for example, anxiety. When I feel anxious, I don't look at this as like, oh, I need to get rid of this. This is a bad thing. I use the feeling from that as fuel to work hard. And I feel good. Like if I feel anxious, I'm anxious. It's a good thing, because now I feel like I have an obligation to do good.
Where's the line there? Like, what can happen in your life where you just take extreme ownership, say good, and move on? Like, my grandma died. Good. Is that the line? Where's the line?
I mean, just like we talked about before, it's how you interpret it. Everything is interpretation. You can self-delude yourself. The mind is a powerful place. If you can self-delude yourself to thinking it's a good thing, not in a way like, oh, good, I don't miss grandma. That's not what we're saying here. But like in a way where you can find a positive out of a negative, then nothing's going to really break you down. It's kind of, these emotions aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's just how you react. You can't let them control you. If you let them control you, then that's when it becomes a problem.
Right.
But if you can recognize that they exist and recognize that thoughts are just thoughts, they're not real. They're not in reality. They're thoughts. And a lot of times your thoughts lie to you. They tell you things that aren't true. Just because you feel them so heavily and so intensely, you think that they're reality or that they're true because you feel it.
If I ask you, name 10 things you're grateful for right now, could you do it like that?
No, probably not.
What about 10 painful things that are happening in your life?
At this moment?
Right. Or just in your life right now. 10 pain points.
What do you mean, painful? When you say painful?
Like, just like excuses that you tell yourself. Or like,
for why
my knee kind of hurts right now. Or like, it's kind of getting dark. That's disappointing. There wasn't a cool sunset today. That sucks. Like, humans naturally try to find the bad more than the good.
Right. It's human nature. Like, I always see like YouTubers on like criticism, like in their comment section. They'll see 100 great comments saying, oh, I love the video, but that one comment that didn't like it, now it's a problem. Now you feel it.
Right.
It's just kind of how we're wired, and you got to kind of rewire your mind to not think in that light, because like as a man you have to suffer. So when you go through these things, you should never look at them as bad things.
Right.
Because it's always a lesson. Because I believe men learn lessons the hard way. Because once it gets painful and once you start suffering, that's when you learn. That's when you know not to do what you did that got you in that situation again. And everything's your fault. So I hate when people make excuses for why they're not where they want to be.
Yeah.
Because
you're exactly
I believe if you want something so badly, it doesn't matter your circumstances. It doesn't matter if you're in the hood, in the ghetto, and have no money and are poor, or if you're in Beverly Hills with millions of dollars. If you want something, you're going to get it regardless.
The universe is ultimately giving, right? If you solve what Tate says, right? If you dedicate your life's purpose to solving your Rubik's Cube, you're going to solve it no matter what.
Right. And like a lot of people make excuses like for why they're fat. This is an example. And they say, you know, I don't have the tools. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have money to get a gym membership. But it's like, if you really wanted to get in shape, if you truly wanted to get in shape, you're going to find anything you could do. So if you don't have any equipment, no dumbbells, no nothing, go out and find a heavy rock and start curling it. Literally, it sounds stupid, but if you want it that bad, you're going to go to any measures to get it.
Right.
And it doesn't cost to run. It doesn't cost to run around your neighborhood or wherever you live. It doesn't cost to find heavy things, to do push-ups. Push-ups don't cost anything. Bodyweight exercises.
Well, pull-ups might cost the cost of a bar, but you can find a tree branch.
Right. So, I mean, there's literally no excuses, because if you make excuses, even if it's not your fault, even if the excuse is valid, what is it going to do for you?
Right.
By whining about it and saying, you know what, this is why I didn't succeed. How is that going to help you? How is that going to benefit you? Even identifying it. Who cares? Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares why you're not where you are. They just care if you are or if you're not. You know what I mean?
It's like having... Do you know the fastest man alive?
No, I don't.
It's Usain Bolt.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Usain
you know
Bolt,
that. Do you know who the second place guy is?
I don't know.
No, nobody does. And they were they were milliseconds away from each other. Now, if that second guy had an excuse for losing, say he twisted his ankle before the race, right? And that was his excuse for losing. Nobody cares.
Right.
He lost, and that was it.
Nobody cares.
Just win.
Or even in boxing, sometimes the judges' opinions are biased or they're not fair. But the thing is, nobody's going to remember that as, oh yeah, the judges weren't fair in that fight. They're going to think, no, this person won this fight.
Right.
So I guess that's a good analogy for life isn't fair, and you had to kind of deal with your cards. So you have to build yourself up as a man, because when you're little, you notice all your family's like, oh, because you're a little innocent kid. They all are around you, want to engage with you. Mm-hmm. But as you get older, then you start to realize nobody cares about you, dude. Maybe your mom cares about you, maybe your dad, but
I've gone through that recently, actually.
Yeah, but nobody's checking up on you to see if you're okay. Nobody cares. So the best thing you can do is care about yourself, because that's the only person who's gonna care.
I had broken my I fractured my ankle, broke my nose that same night, and I was completely bloody. And I was walking home, texting the people that I care about in my life, they care about me, and I had an overwhelming, wave of gratitude. Some people went through exactly what I went through tonight and don't have anyone to talk to about it.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful that I have people that care about me in my life. Even and that's overlooked. Your mom asking you, how was your day?
Right.
In 5 years, 10, let's say 15 years, that's not happening. Nobody's going to ask you that.
No, but nobody cares. You're on your own. And people will only start to care about you when you do something significant, when you become important. That's when people actually start to care about you. I noticed I was playing baseball this one time. I think I told you before. I had a very good game. Now I have all these people trying to talk to me and try to engage with me, ask me questions. I remember even the parents on the other team were trying to talk to me. People I have no clue who they are, from a different state, just because I had one good performance.
Right.
And then after a bad game, nobody talks to me.
Nobody talks to you, bro. Losers lose and winners win. That's it. That's how it is.
It is what it is. I mean, people respect you on your value and what you provide. People started
looking at me differently too after I won my first fight. Now I have the credibility, and now I've been teaching boxing and kickboxing, and I have the credibility to speak upon these things that I want to talk about.
Right. I think the reason why people view you in a better light when you do something significant is because it's hard to do. Not a lot of people can do it. If you do something a lot of people can't do, they find that cool. They find that interesting. And a lot of people say, well, all you need to do to be successful is be a nice person. But everybody can be nice. It takes no skill, takes no significance, no respect to be nice. Anybody can be nice. So that nice isn't what's going to get you to $1 million. Nice isn't what's going to overall make you successful. So that's why you need to have skills that you're working toward every single day to become the best version of yourself, to be honest, because that's what's going to make you fulfilled in this life.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is a skill that someone should work on to build themselves up, make themselves better?
Well, I mean, everybody has different interests and different hobbies, but do you want something that can apply to a general something that can apply?
Say there's someone that has been mediocre their whole life, and they're into interesting to them, but uninteresting hobbies. Let's say there's a Dungeons and Dragons, no life.
Yeah.
What should he work on to start to be successful?
Well, I think for everybody, whether you like going to the gym or not, I know it sounds cliche and oh yeah, go and get in the gym, but it's true. And I'll tell you why all these self-improvement channels tell you to get in the gym. Yes, it is to get strong, because getting strong is very important, because people respect you more, because it shows discipline. It shows that you're not lazy, and you're lazy when you're fat. So that's one. Don't be fat. So what was I saying?
53%. Well, I don't know the complete statistic, but almost half of Americans are obese.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
And do you know why?
Because it's never been easier to do nothing.
They push laziness. So why do you think that every corner you go to, there's a fast food restaurant?
Right.
that's very cheap, and they make it so easily accessible, these unhealthy foods that aren't going to make you better. And that's why people are fat. It's simple. But it's like, sometimes I like to tell you something. Even sometimes I'm looking for restaurants. Like, sometimes I don't feel like cooking, and I'm looking for restaurants that I can actually eat without feeling like guilty.
Dookie.
Yeah. And I can't name one that's in the budget range. I scroll, I see McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, freaking, what else? Panda Express. Like, the only thing that maybe is borderline is maybe like a Panera or like a Chipotle, but even then, their food isn't great.
It's like, what seed oils are Chipotle using?
Right.
Where is their chicken produced?
Right.
Does it have antibiotics in it? How was the chicken fed?
Raised.
Right.
So this is a lot of things. This is a lot of reasons why people are fat in America, and a lot of people in America, they look for things that are going to make them feel good in the moment, that give them instant gratification, like social media. We've fried our brains with this social media because when people doom scroll, it's changing their emotion every video, because every video has different content that can make you feel a different emotion. So when you're constantly changing that, that's not natural. The human brain isn't accustomed to that. So when you actually have things that are meaningful, that evoke emotion, it's not going to feel as fulfilling,
Right.
because you're just constantly feeling that all the time.
If you think of, like, going back to a caveman era, finding something like honey, that would be like the most dopaminergic activity in your day, right?
Yeah.
Like slaying the tiger, getting the honey, banging that chick in the cave. Those are the three like main dopaminergic things you could do. And now you don't have to fight for your food. You don't have to. It's just, you're so comfortable all the time.
And do you know why I don't feel bad for people who aren't successful?
Why?
Or is because they have the privilege to live in a country where food is easily accessible, shelter is easily accessible, or most likely, like, I mean, if you're growing up, your parents take care of you, they pay for your food, they pay for your shelter, and you can't find, and you're still not where you want to be, and you're making excuses when there's literally kids in third world countries that are fighting to have food,
to drink.
It's a win to get food that day. They feel good about themselves to get food, and you have all these things, and you still are being lazy. That's why I have no sympathy for any of these people.
So how do we combat laziness?
I think we have to spread the word of hard work and take away things that give people instant gratification and stop promoting degeneracy, like partying, going to the club, TikTok, things that are going to fry your attention span and your well-being. And I'll say this, I don't think using your phone and social media is a bad thing. I think we've made it a bad thing by the methods that we use, by like doom scrolling, because if you're on TikTok for 2 hours, what do you gain out of that?
You can't even remember the last video you watched.
Yeah, you're never going to think about that video ever again. You get nothing. But if you're on your phone researching how to make money, how to improve this, and actually getting information and learning things, then that's when social media is okay. It's just about when you use it for nonsense, that just entertainment 24/7, and you're not getting anything out of it, you know? So
what steps can an audience member take out of this? What should they do?
If they really have the self-discipline, the mental discipline, I think the first thing they should do is delete TikTok.
What if they don't have the discipline? Are they fucked?
I mean, we talked about there has to be winners and losers, right? So, I mean, you can force, or you can take a horse to a well, but you can't force it to drink. It's a popular quote.
Well, what if you salt its mouth and put it in the desert?
Yeah.
And you put a bucket of water right next to its mouth. Then what?
But
then it will drink, right?
It will drink, but that's out of their will. It's still out of their will. But you have to put them in a position where they want to do that.
It's just depriving yourself,
right,
of things that are bad for you, so you can get an outcome,
right,
that you want.
So when you have these instant gratifications, that's what's gonna, and you go based off emotions, because you feel hungry, I have to eat. I feel tired, so I have to sleep. I feel like I have to do this because so like then you want to do it. But if you ignore all those things, you'll find that you're so much more disciplined. And I think what comes down to that is a purpose. You need a purpose to it. Or else you're not going to stay disciplined. Have you ever you ever said, you know what, today, from now on, I'm going to stop eating junk food. But you had no purpose. You just did it just to do it. And then what, a week later, you see those donuts.
Right. Ooh.
So, but if you have a purpose, if you think about why you're doing it, let's say the reason you're doing it is to get a better body, to get in shape, to have a six-pack. When those donuts get put on the table, you're going to neglect them. You're like, nope, I want the six-pack. You have a reason to do it. You're gonna think about, oh, it's gonna mess up my body. You know, I don't want to go feel like crap. I don't want to restart any setbacks.
And purpose is the most important thing in every man's life. If you're going home to if you're going to the same job, doing the same meaningless tasks, coming home to the same place, watching the same things, and not really changing your life at all with no purpose, of course you're gonna feel unfulfilled, and sad and depressed.
And I think that also ties into people who even have money, because they fulfilled their purpose by getting rich and successful. But now what for them? Because like we talked about earlier, people will always want more. So then what comes next? Control. So that's why you see all these dictators who crave control over other people, because they already have all the money in the world. Now they're looking for something else to have a purpose for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just an observation. That's very interesting.
Control. Talk a little bit more about that. Why is it that control is so important now? And
you mean to people?
Yeah, like
to people who want control?
Say you have put everything into the government and you're asking the government to save you in a way. Like, the government's going to save me. I'll be poor until they save me.
Right.
And then you realize that
they don't care about you.
Joe Biden had dementia, right? And he wasn't even running the show. And you put your faith into someone to control your life, pretty much. And they didn't have any control.
They didn't
Who is controlling us? Who is controlling us?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because you guys are going to hear a lot of like Andrew Tate quotes, because has a lot of intellect, and I like to repeat stuff to spread the word. So just a disclaimer. But he's talking about how in Russia, like, he's talking about how no country on the earth is actually free. America claims we're free, but we're not actually free. They push this front like, oh yeah, you're free, you can do these things, but it's a lot of times it's things you don't want to actually do. It's like, I don't want to go and be involved with this degeneracy. They say, yeah, you can go party, you can go do pointless things that aren't going to improve your life. You can do that, but if you speak the truth, no, you can't do that.
Right.
But
or really anything for that.
But so what I'm going off of that is, like, in Russia, yes, obviously they're under a dictatorship with Putin, but you know the boundaries. You know what you can and can't say. They're clear about what you can and can't say. You know you can't talk bad about Putin, because then there'll be consequences. So at least you know the consequences that you'll face.
In America, it's not like that.
They claim it's free, but then there's consequences. So that's an interesting thing about it, because no place is actually completely free. And I don't believe that we should have a country that's completely free. I think that's giving too much power to citizens.
Freedom might be a good thing not to have, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, if everything was completely free, imagine the chaos that there would be.
The anarchy.
All right.
No order, no morality, no standard, nothing. That's why we need to bring back more religion. I think that's also a reason why America is not where it should be, is because people have fallen out from religion. I guess you can call it a Christian country, but a lot of people who claim they're Christian
don't follow Christian morals.
Yeah, they don't actually follow the morals. So, I mean, if you bring back those moralities and these basic points of how you should live your life, the whole world would change for the better. Everybody would start doing more of the things that they should be doing, because God's in their life.
Right. But and you're fearful.
Yeah.
That
to disappoint God.
Right.
Right. So I think that America needs to push, like, religion more. Just need to push religion in general, because obviously I'm a Christian. So I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that that's the truth. That's what happened. He's the Son of God. But I'm happy for anybody else who adopts a different religion, a different faith, because they all have a base of something, of some morality, some level of morality of what's good and bad. Even if I don't believe that their way to God and who God is true, I can respect it from the fact that their morals are just and their morals are fair. So it's really interesting.
As someone who isn't Christian, such as myself, try to convince me to the best of your ability why I should go into Christianity. Although I feel like my morals are perfectly fine.
Okay. So where did you get those morals from?
My environment? My mindset? Yes, I was baptized.
Right.
Yes, I had a... What is the party called after you're baptized?
The party?
It starts with a C, I think.
Communion?
Communion. I had a communion.
Okay.
And...
But who told you that killing was bad?
Society.
Right?
I've never read the Bible.
Never read the Bible.
I've sinned, like all of us, right?
Right. But if there wasn't... Okay, so do you believe there is a God?
There is a God.
There's a God. You just
I
don't
don't
know.
believe in Jesus.
You don't believe he was a real person?
No.
Okay.
Here's my viewpoint. I think that the stories that the Bible tells are silly, and although you could take correct morals out of them, I think it's strange to be getting those from fictional stories.
Yeah.
Like a talking snake. Do you really believe that there's a talking snake?
See, that's... Oh, wait, they're in there. Okay. Yeah, so that's... I'm not sure if there actually... Was there actually a story in the Bible that talked...
Yeah, Adam and Eve.
Yeah, I know that, yeah, like the fruit. But did they really say... Because I haven't read the Bible cover to cover. But yeah, so I haven't read the Bible cover to cover, so I am no, in any way, shape, or form, an expert on this, in Christianity. So, I mean, from your understanding, there's a
Let me give you some stories that I've been told.
Okay.
That I think are silly. So, one is David and Goliath. There's an actual giant that was trying to, cause chaos, and this little guy killed him with a slingshot. Of course, there's a moral of the story there that a Christian can take away. But is the story... Should I believe the story wholeheartedly? Or, let's say, the Tower of Babel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All these different people spoke the same language, and they were going to build a tower to get to God.
Disobey God, or whatever.
And God said no, and then separated all of their memories, so they all spoke a different language, and that's how language is created.
Right. So, I think I can understand what you mean by why you wouldn't believe it, but it all comes down to interpretation again. Like Jesus, he spoke in parables, so a lot of the stuff is like things that didn't actually happen, but just a concept that he'll kind of portray. Like, and the reason he talks in parables is because it gets his message across better. To talk in stories back then, I guess that's how they resonated with him, with his morals and how they spoke.
Do you believe in these stories wholeheartedly?
If I believe in Jesus, which I do, then I would say yes. And that stems from, well, obviously faith, but again, seeing Jesus work in my life. You want to know something that's interesting? And you can also call me crazy or call me saying this is not true, but I started going to church maybe about a month and a half ago. Ever since a month and a half ago, my life has been going
uphill.
Up. And it's weird.
In what way?
Well,
bench BR?
Well, strength, yep. I've been doing that. I've been working on my social skills. I've been talking to more people, getting better socially. I have been being more focused on my purpose, kind of through trying to get better financially. I'm learning skills from a new job. I'm obviously starting this podcast right now. So I'm trying to make a brand out of myself, and I feel like everything's just kind of going uphill because I was playing baseball for a while, and I thought that's what my purpose was, to play baseball. But I realized as soon as I quit baseball, my life has just went up. So I guess that's also a thing that has influence my life to go up. But I ultimately believe that it stems from God. So every day I pray in my bed before I go to bed, just ask Him to guide me in the right direction. That you have the authority, God, to guide what my life goes. Obviously, I can work hard and do the best that I can do to enhance my life to the best of the ability, but ultimately God is in control at the end of the day. You know,
I went to a monastery with 5 monks 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And I talked to these monks about the way they view their life. And it wasn't a Hindu monastery. It was a non-religious monastery. And they believe in reincarnation. And so basically, the whole concept of reincarnation is once you die, you're reborn.
Right.
Into something else.
Yeah.
And so I asked them, why is it that the population is growing if you just die and you're reborn? Shouldn't it be recycled to a certain extent?
Yeah.
And then he told me that everything has a soul. And you could be a deer in your next life, or you could be, you know, a squirrel or a rock or a plant. And so I thought, why do you try to destroy these plants? What, like, their whole thing is not violence. It's like, go against violence. And the reason for this is karma. So karma is basically, I asked him the definition of his karma, and it's reaping what you sow. Right. And so he brought up a good point. He said, why does a baby die when it's first born? Why would God allow that? Actually, I want to hear your point of view.
Why would God? Well, the world is full of sin. The world isn't perfect by any regard. Like the people in the world, God made the world perfect, but we messed it up.
The baby hasn't had time to sin. So why does it die?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
So
I'll be honest.
This monk told me it's because in its past life it had bad karma.
Okay.
And so karma won't always happen to you in this life.
Okay.
It can happen in a past life, or it can show up in a future life. And so knowing about this now, like, gives you
perspective,
like a different way to approach your life and to always spread good karma. So you're not affected by it.
I don't think karma just comes out of thin air. Like automatically something's in the back. Like if I punch you, automatically. I mean, you'll punch me back. I guess that's what karma is.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But like, it won't just vanish out of thin air. Like there's reasons why. Like if you're putting out bad energy, then what do you think is gonna...
Say you punch me right now, and I was like, okay, that's okay. And now I have good karma and you have bad karma, right?
Right.
So there's definitely levels to it, and of course I don't know everything about it, but there's levels to it. And so say you killed somebody. Say you killed me right now. Right. You think something bad would happen to you if you weren't caught in this life? Would something bad happen to you? Maybe. Maybe. But what if it happened in your next life? Maybe you die as a baby next life because of the karma you created in this life. And this also goes into why we have leveled up more than the people around us. We have older souls.
Right. But that goes again, like, I think something causes the karma. I don't think just because I commit something in this life, the next life, I'll have karma. I think the cause of me doing it will make the karma come into existence. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So it won't just be like, it won't be just be the universe saying, you know what, you did this, now this is going to happen to you, like a God saying that.
What is it then?
I mean, obviously God is in control, but it all flows in a natural way. So like, if I kill somebody, obviously the consequences are going to be, I'm going to go to jail. So that's karma. Go to jail. That's the cause of...
What if you don't get caught? That's what I'm saying.
If you don't get caught?
If you don't get caught.
Well...
And it might weigh on your conscience. That's karma. But say it doesn't and you're a psychopath. Okay,
so that means you already have something wrong with you. If you're going to willingly kill somebody, that means that the reason, why did you kill that person? Because there's something not right in the head.
Right.
And since there's something not right in the head, that's going to ultimately detriment your life because you're not sane in the head. You know what I mean? So that it kind of connects. It all connects because whatever energy you put out, how would you, if you always put out negative energy, how would you get positive energy? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's going to go downhill because to commit that negative act, there already has to be something wrong. Something that's going to weigh a toll on you.
So,
you know,
say I do a bunch of good things in my life, this lifetime, and I don't see anything in return. Do you think in the next lifetime, there's potential that I'll be like a rock star or like, you know, super successful? Just from birth, I was given the right, like Michael Jordan, let's say. He was handed the right cards to do what he had to do to be a champion, right?
Yeah.
In his past life, he probably did a lot of good things. If he had a past life.
That's where it comes down to. That's where you get the rocky road because, like,
right.
Do I even believe that we had a past life?
Right.
And I would say no, if I'm being honest.
Right.
I don't believe we had a past life.
Because you're a Christian.
Right.
But it's just different beliefs on what happens after death that are going to shape the way you live. Right.
Just like, it's kind of like,
Of course, both of us are still growing, and we have a sliver of knowledge in this religion realm. But I think it's important to know, or at least to think about what's going to happen after your death.
Right.
Because you believe that you'll go to heaven or hell.
Right.
I might believe, I'm not sure for certain, that I'll just be born as something else with good or bad karma. That's reincarnation.
Right.
Or you're an atheist and you don't believe anything happens.
Which is, I feel like, the most sad way to view about after the afterlife.
And I mean, here's the biggest atheist debate. You can just talk about Newton's laws. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Right.
After you're dead, your soul has energy. It has to go somewhere. Right? It can't be created nor destroyed.
Interesting.
So,
it has to go somewhere.
It has to go somewhere.
Huh.
It's not just vanishing and going nowhere.
But that goes to the conversation. Do you believe we have a soul?
Yes. Everyone has a soul.
Right. But is that considered, by Newton's laws, is that considered energy?
I'm not sure. Also, I think the argument to this, so the counterclaim would be that energy doesn't follow the same rules that Earth's energy does. You know?
What do you mean? No, explain.
Like, on Earth, energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Right.
In the cosmos, energy could probably be destroyed. You know? I don't know for sure.
There's just certain things that just don't physically comprehend. Like, it's just not how reality is. You know what I mean? Like it couldn't ever be like that. It can't just vanish. So there's logic. I mean, we're going to the science argument. I think everything has logic. Everything that happens has a reason. Yeah. In my opinion. So
it's getting dark. You can barely see us. It's all right. Keep
going. Okay.
No, it's okay.
So if everything has a reason, if I hit you like this, if I go like that.
Oh.
So if I did that, there's a reason why that happened. I put my arm at a certain moment, at a certain amount of force, a amount of newtons of velocity to hit that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything has a reason. So I think that kind of goes back to taking self-accountability. Everything has a reason. Things just don't happen. So this kind of actually counter-argues Christianity. Because I have this unsettling kind of view, dark view, about God. So we know, what do we believe about God? We believe God was just always there. He's always been there, right?
He created everything.
He created everything. But logically, if we're thinking logically, how is that possible? Right. How does someone, or he's not a person, obviously, but how does one come into existence? That doesn't make any sense. But but this is the weird part about it. The contrary to that is still not a satisfying answer. So you're saying, okay, God 2 created God 1. Let's say that. So then who created God 2? And if it's just a spiral of forevering that they created them, then you can't come to a conclusion on who the creator is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you give the answer that he's always been there, it doesn't make sense logically. If you give the answer that someone created them, it doesn't make sense logically. There's always another.
It's inconceivable.
So how do we answer that question? How do we come to a conclusion?
You can.
So,
Can you?
or maybe my theory, the only semi-satisfactory answer I can say is that it's just beyond our understanding.
Right.
That
It's
we just can't comprehend.
incomprehensible.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But I mean, that's still not really a satisfactory conclusion.
You could think about like what the way to solve the problem, which is the question, is what happens after death. Have someone die and come back, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they see God, right?
Yeah.
You've heard stories of people saying that they've seen God.
Yeah. Oh, they've seen hell or other
Right.
shit like that. Yeah.
Right. So that's one point for Christianity, right? But like, say I don't know. I was gonna say you see your next life.
Yeah.
But has that ever happened? I'm not sure.
It's just like, it's crazy how life is just happening. Because like, I thought about this recently. This is kind of off topic, but still in the same kind of deepness, I guess. But do you remember when you were 2 years old? Or when you were 3 years old?
3, yeah.
3. It was like the earliest, right? So, do you remember your first memory ever?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I was
Your first time being conscious ever?
Yeah.
Really?
I
Interesting.
was playing with frogs at my grandma's house with a little gardening shovel, a spade.
Yeah.
And I was scooping them up, these frogs, and I was showing my grandma, and she was laughing. It was a sunny day,
Mhm.
you know, in the spring. We could just increase the brightness later.
Okay. But,
Um,
and then, yeah, so for me, I don't even remember my first memory.
right.
All I remember, it's kind of like a blur. It's just a blur of events that kind of just have happened.
Yeah.
Without it. So like, I guess the explanation is when we're very young, our brains aren't developed enough to comprehend or to have long-term memory. So we don't have those long-term memories. Like, you don't remember when you were 1 year old, like looking, or you don't remember you came out of the womb looking at your mom. Like, obviously you don't remember that.
Right.
Like, it's because of what I just said. Your brains aren't developed yet. But it's crazy. I barely even remember. Like, all I remember is just coming into consciousness. And I think the reason I don't remember the first time is because I was probably conscious for a while before I even realized that I was conscious or even questioned my consciousness.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was 3, all I remember is that I somehow knew my mom was my mom and my dad was my dad and I had a brother. Like, it's weird because I can't like pick out what happened.
A singular memory, right?
So I'm optimistic after I die. I want to ask God if I can go back to those moments and see how everything played out, which is interesting.
I mean, memories are really the most important part
Of life.
of living,
Yeah.
right? Without memories, you don't have anything. Memories are the most important.
So what do you think the meaning of life is then?
And part of it's fulfillment, being satisfied on your deathbed.
Yeah.
And a part of it's being happy at the memories you created
Right.
at your death.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So a lot of people like to go have fun and have these memories, I guess you can call them, at parties or
Before you
concerts.
do this, before you say this, if you need any reason to stop doom scrolling or being on social media, it's affecting your memory. And on your deathbed, you're not going to remember the greatest times of your life because you weren't there for them. Your brain,
You weren't present.
your brain is gone. Okay, continue.
So, what was I saying? Okay, if you go to these concerts and you have fun, and we talk about how it's a waste of time and you're not improving, what is it a waste of time then? Because you're creating memories with people that you love. So my question is, how do you balance those having fun with work? But I mean, work can be fun.
Right.
We know that.
Right. I feel like if you're going to concerts, you haven't gotten fulfilled work, right? Like, when's the last time you saw someone go to a concert where they're actually successful in their life and they are really dedicated to what they're doing? Never.
Right.
Like,
anybody can go to a concert. Why would you want to go now? Because everybody can do it. It's like, scarcity has value attached to it. Why do you think people value lifting heavy so much because it's not easy to do.
It's hard.
It's hard.
With difficulty comes value, right?
Right. Anything in life. That's also why people respect you when you're successful.
Right.
It's hard.
I think we're gonna have to conclude it there.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty dark.
It is getting dark. I don't even know. We're posting this, right?
Yeah, we're gonna post this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even if we get 5 views, hi guys.
It was worth it.
So
This is great.
we kind of rambled on. We didn't we kind of were jumping from subject to subject, but I mean, hey, it's the first time, so we only can go up from here.
We can only go up from here. I love that.
All right, so make sure you guys like the video, subscribe.
If you enjoyed this, we are building a community online. It's called the Warriors Collective, and basically we're teaching martial arts and lifting and nutrition. And if you got anything out of this video that is valuable, I think you'll find that also valuable. And
also check out my personal YouTube channel where I'll be giving tips on lifting, how to improve lifting heavier and stuff like that, and how to improve just your gym experience. So if that's something you're interested in and can find value in, definitely check it out. I'll leave it in the description. I'll also leave his community in the description too. All right.
peace.
Peace.